The knock on the door echoed through the silent annex, shattering the fragile illusion of safety that had held for 2 years. For Anne Frank, her family, and millions more, it marked the beginning of the end. This is the story of Anne's final days, of hope and heartbreak, survival and loss, and how one young girl's voice transcended the horrors of the Holocaust to inspire generations. August 4, 1944, was a day Anne Frank would never forget. The sun had barely risen over the secret annex, casting a faint glow over the cramped space. Anne, her parents Otto and Edith, and her sister Margot huddled together, their faces etched with worry. They knew the Nazis were closing in. Whispers of arrests and raids had spread like wildfire through the Amsterdam underground. The Franks had lived in hiding for 2 years, but their safety was fragile. Otto, his voice trembling, pulled them close. "We'll be together soon, mine kind," he whispered. "We'll face whatever comes next, as a family." Anne's eyes welled up with tears. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs felt heavy, rooted to the spot. Edith gently took Anne's hands. "Take care of your sister," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. Margot wrapped her arms around Anne, holding her tight. "I'll always be with you," she promised. The sound of boots echoed outside. The Nazis had arrived. The Franks shared one last glance, their eyes locking in a desperate bid to memorize every detail. Anne's heart raced as she absorbed the scene, her mother's worn face, her father's resigned eyes, Margot's trembling lips. The door creaked open, and Nazi officers stormed in. "Everyone out," they barked. As they were dragged through the streets of Amsterdam and caught glimpses of familiar landmarks, the Westerkerk, the canal houses, the flower market. The city she once knew was now a blur of fear and uncertainty. The Franks were herded into a truck with other Jewish families, all bound for the same destination, the Gestapo headquarters. Anne's mind reeled with questions. What would happen next? Would they be separated? Would they survive? At the Gestapo headquarters, the Franks were processed and interrogated. Anne's father, Otto, tried to shield his family, answering questions with cautious precision. As night fell, they were crammed into overcrowded cells. Anne huddled with Margot, clinging to her sister's warmth. Days blurred into weeks. The Franks were transferred to the Dutch transit camp, Westerbork. Anne's hopes began to dwindle. In Westerbork, they were forced to live in primitive barracks, sharing cramped space with hundreds of others. Disease and despair hung in the air. Anne's diary, left behind in the secret annex, seemed like a distant memory. Yet, in her mind, she continued writing, pouring out her emotions, her fears, and her dreams. September 1944. The Franks were put on a train to Auschwitz. As the train rumbled through the Polish countryside, and stared out the window, her eyes fixed on the unknown. What lay ahead? Auschwitz. The very name sent shivers down her spine. The train screeched to a halt. Anne's heart sank. Out, the guards yelled. Anne, Margot, and their mother, Edith, were separated from Otto, sent to the women's section. Anne's world shrank to a single goal, survival. October 1944. Edith fell ill, her body weakened by malnutrition and exhaustion. Anne and Margot cared for her, but it was too late. Edith passed away, surrounded by her daughters. Anne's world crumbled. November 1944. Anne and Margot were sent to Bergh-Belsen, a camp in northern Germany. The conditions were appalling: overcrowding, disease, and starvation. February 1945. Typhus swept through the camp. Anne and Margot, both weakened, contracted the disease. In the midst of chaos, Anne's thoughts turned to her diary, left behind in the secret annex. Had anyone found it? Would her story survive? As the Allies closed in, the Nazis grew more desperate. Anne's fate hung in the balance. February 1945. Anne Frank, just 15 years old, succumbed to typhus. Margot died a few days later. Otto Frank, the sole survivor, was liberated from Auschwitz by Soviet troops. Returning to Amsterdam, Otto searched for his family. The news was devastating: Edith, Margot, Anne were gone. But Anne's diary, miraculously, had been found. Meet Gies, one of the people who helped the Franks in hiding, recovered the diary and kept it safe. Otto Frank published Anne's diary in 1947, fulfilling his daughter's dream. Today, Anne Frank's diary is a beacon of hope, a testament to the human spirit. Her story inspires millions, a reminder of the dangers of prejudice, hatred, and indifference. Anne Frank's legacy lives on, a shining light in the darkness.